Right, I'm here at Hayes on the site of the EMI factory, and the building you can see in the distance there is a 1912 building that was put up by the architect Owen Williams, who did the Empire Pool at Wembley. And then Penrith, these are all new buildings that have gone up, new apartment blocks. But this building here, if I'm right, on the end, was the old record stores building, and that sits right next to the Great Western Railway line there, which you can see. And if I go around to the front here, or the back, yeah, I can't quite make it out unfortunately, but it should say His Master's Voice on the side there. So this is one of the original buildings, and if I'm right, it's the record stores building put up in the 1920s. I'm now around the back of the building, the record store building. These all looks like new window frames that have gone in. New stuff. And at the end, an older one now. Not quite sure which one that was. I think it might have been the assembly building. And if it is, it's the one that was designed by Wallace Gilbert and Partners. So this building here, as I've just found out from this rather dull security notice, is in fact the cabinet building, as you can see. Cabinet building. Not much to look at, is it? But if we go around the outside, be careful I don't get run over, there's cars all over the place. Right. So I don't know whether that's part of the same complex, but this one that we're looking straight at, that is definitely the one that was done by Wallace Gilbert and Partners, the people who did the Firestone factory and the Hoover factory. So a lot of this stuff is gradually being repurposed, and I guess better for it, definitely, rather than rotting away. So it's all good, really. Quite nice. Just places you can sort of sit, and obviously done like the old original gramophone players, very stylised. That's a nice touch, really. Over there's Global Academy, so training radio stars of the future on the commercial level rather than BBC. And then in the assembly building, which is gradually being repurposed, you can see right into the framework of the building. And this building was put up, I think, in the 1920s, so certainly after the First World War, from my knowledge. Very, very basic, but purposeful. Quite beautiful in its own way, although I'm sure not everybody will agree with me. So here we have Nipper the dog, minus his gramophone player, which you would have thought might have been handy to put that in. So it's based on the old His Master's Voice painting, which was the sign of His Master's Voice, the Gramophone Company. And there he is looking out on all the sites. See the shipping building in the background, which is the one I believe was done by Wallace Gilbert and Partners. And then we look around here, quite a lot of the site is gone on this side, but you have got the original 1907-8 office block. So very much of its age, in a sort of neo-Georgian-ish Edwardian, really. It's an Edwardian building. And then the Owen Williams building in the background from 1912. Now this here, I mentioned on the radio, was where there was a school, and that school was there certainly throughout the 1920s, 30s, 40s, probably 50s, before it disappeared. Just another thing to say here in this square where they have the dog is all of these history tablets to tell you about the things that happened in terms of inventions and innovations. So this is talking about Alan Blumlein, the man that created stereophonic sound and radar, airborne radar, all these things you can see on there. And as you go round, you've got a few more. So here, this one talks about ultra linear amplifier, and then over here we've got sound recording, because he was involved with setting up the studios at Abbey Road, which were EMIs. And then we go to this one, and this is talking about rather vague term of telecommunications. And then we go around to this one, and this is talking about HS2 radar, which was fitted into certainly Lancaster bombers in the Second World War. Unfortunately, Alan Blumlein died in, I think it's 42 or 43, whilst they were testing this in an aircraft. He was actually in I think it was a Sterling bomber that crashed. So over to this one, and this is stereophonic sound, which he created with his technicians, and the long-tailed pair, which I can't remember off the top of my mind what that was about, but it was to do with sound recording, I believe. There's some more, can't miss this one out. Television, and then here we go, radar technology, again rather vague. There you go. Back again looking at the original office building. So here, I believe, as well as being the offices, is also where they had their recording studio, so people had to come out to Hayes. This is after they had their first recording studio in the basement of the Coburn Hotel in the West End in Maiden Lane. And as you can see, as we walk towards the 1912 building, it does actually say the vinyl factory manufacturing on the door over there, and that's because they still do press records there using old EMI 1400 record presses. And as I said on the radio program, they had actually anticipate doing something like 2 million pressings this year. So it's all still happening. And then we got global, so still a lot going on with things to listen to. And I'm now going to see if I can find the foundation stone. So here is a familiar name, or letters, EMI, and what was obviously one of the entrances into the original building from 1907. So that logo obviously put in after 1930 when EMI was created, and it's now housing and a nursery. Still trying to find this foundation. So just walked down from the EMI site along the Grand Union Canal. Lovely sunny day, and we are now just going to take a detour, as it said, Trails of Discovery, up this little path here. So I shall tell you what that's going to be in a minute. Right, so it says radar equipment of 1959 salvaged from Lake Farm, commemorating the major contribution made by EMI of Hayes to the British war effort 1939, the 1945 original team led by Alan Dower Blumlein. So just pull back, and this is in the park. As you can see, a reference there to a spaceship sort of thing, and then a radar dish. A bit of a sorry state actually. So Hillingdon Council, or whoever needs to put a bit of money into that and tidy up a bit. That's interesting. There we go, and a bit of modern 21st century technology coming towards us. Right, well here's another bit of EMI that is still here, although it isn't EMI, it's the EMI Archive, the trust that looks after all the old stuff, including the silver spade that cut the first sod of earth, done by Edward Lloyd in 1907. So I won't go in there because I haven't got an appointment, and I'll probably get done by security. And then looking over here is a big industrial estate. This all used to be EMI as well. They put up in the 1920s or 30s, where you used to do a lot of the defence work, radar, and weapons systems and stuff. So just waiting for this car to go past. I'm going to cross the road because actually, as I go over here, show and get run over, you can actually see the building at the end of the road. There is one of the EMI buildings.